Alright, what is going on, everybody? Yet another pretty much leak. For once, it's not from Extra Booster 1. We're actually getting more leaks from OP-07 already. So let's just get right into it. The first card we've gotten from this new leak is actually another 5-drop Luffy. Of course, the parallel is going to be of the actual cover art. Unlike what they did with Law in OP-04, he's literally on the cover art. He didn't get a parallel art for him. I mean, he is just a 5-drop black common for OP-04, but this one is SR OP-07 Luffy. On the ability, it's an activate main, and he is counted as 4 Emperors now. He is now a part of the 4 Emperors archetype because this is Egghead. So, yeah, another Luffy card that surprisingly has no Supernova archetype in it. So, interesting. Activate main, the ability is you may place this character in your trash if your life is 2 or less, KO up to one of your opponent's 4 or less characters, and draw 1 card. So, more yellow withdraw, right? That's always good to see, but it's a very low cost. It's a 4 or less. So, interesting. This could work with one of the brothers, right? You know, the super starter deck that we're getting with the 3 brothers. I'm pretty sure this will be working in Luffy more because I'm pretty sure Luffy is the yellow-black. So the black part will be minusing cost, and then you could actually use this guy's ability to to KO that 4 or less. But your life has to be at 2 or less in order for it to even go off. But not only do you get to remove a character card from your opponent's field, you also get to draw after that. So not bad. The trigger is pretty much the same thing, where you just KO opponent's 4 or less card. So it has a quote-unquote Thunderbolt trigger, right? Where you just KO the opponent's character when you trigger it. But it's only 4 or less instead of 5 or less. So who knows? This is also a Luffy you can grab off of the 2-drop Luffy that we're getting in the Super Starter deck. I'm just gonna keep calling it that. I don't know what number it is yet, but it's the one with the 3 brothers. It's in that starter deck. So you can use the 2-drop Luffy for this one too because it's a 5-drop Luffy. So not bad for a new Luffy card that isn't Supernovas, and he's a part of the new archetypes. So not bad. Next up, I've already seen this Basil Hawkins. A lot of people have been talking about it. It's actually really good. If your leader is Supernova, and pretty much it will be because you're probably running this in Jewelry Bonnie. You'll probably be running this in Mono Green Kid. You could run this in any of the old Supernova leaders like Law, right? You could run this in the Red Green Luffy if you really wanted to. So yeah, it's just if your leader is Supernova, this guy gains blocker, but with those kind of stats, you could also use them for a swing, right? That's not bad. A 7k swing. But the once per turn ability is actually really cool for green, because if this character were to be removed from play by one of your opponent's effects, you may instead rest up to one of your opponent's characters instead. So it's really cool for green because what is green all about? We're all about setting up and resting other people's things. So green is like the very most setup color in the game, and the only reason I know that is because I play green, so like I'm always setting up stuff only for it to be KO'd or removed with blue. So this is really cool to have, just to like ensure like one ability can't get rid of this card. So like if someone tries to like red rock this, if they really wanted to, guess what? It won't be able to because of this ability right here. You just rest one of their characters instead. So not bad. If they have a big body on board and they want to get rid of this big blocker with an ability, they're not going to be able to. So yeah, it also works if they're trying to KO it, right? Because it's just removed from play. So if they try to KO with black, or if you block an attack with it and that would kill this card, you just don't let it just doesn't die from the block pretty much. You just rest one of their characters instead, and it works really well for Basil Hawkins, right? Because of his little straw dolls, it affects other people, like it affects the person he's fighting. So like it's really good. It's a really good Supernova card to have. So yeah, really cool to have more stuff that supports the green color in general. Although he can't kill buggies, so you know, he's not that powerful. Next up is another Boa Hancock card. This is another Kuja Pirate, so maybe we will be getting more stuff with Boa Hancock and all that. It's 7 Warlords, 6 cost, 8k power. It's an on-play ability. Is up to one of your opponent's characters other than Monkey D. Luffy cannot attack until the end of their next turn. Then place up to 1 cost, Then place up to 1 cost 1 or less character on the bottom of its owner's deck. Okay, so interesting removal, right? It's a 1 cost. Probably not going to be using that for a lot. This works against Law, right? This works really well against Law. Get rid of one of their 1 costs. It doesn't work on any Monkey D. Luffy's, so it's kind of like the Enel, right? Where the ability doesn't work on Luffy's. So, interesting, interesting. Don't really know what this will be played in. You could probably run this in Doflamingo, right? Don't really know why you would run this in Doflamingo, but it works because it's the 7 Warlords of the Sea. I don't know. I don't know what this will be ran in, I'll be honest. This will probably be ran in the mono blue Boa Hancock that's coming out in this set, so maybe, who knows. And then Dragon, not only did he get a leader card, he got his own character card. So it's an 8-drop 9k rush. So it's an 8-drop rush, and on play you give up to one of your leader or one of your characters 2 rested Dawn. So you could make this guy an 11k swing. So not bad, not bad. For an 8 Dawn turn, you get an 11k swing. So not bad. Or you could use those 2 Dawns to give it to another card you have for an ability they need for it. So I don't know. This is really cool. I mean, I can't wait to see what the parallel of this card is. Hopefully he does get one. But yeah, really cool that he also has a character card, not just a leader card. So yeah, and it's Revolutionary Army, so you could run this in Bello Betty, you could run this in Sabo. So who knows? Really cool. Next up we have Stussy. She's a CP0, and on play you may place one of your characters into the trash. K up to one of your opponent's characters. Awesome removal! Awesome removal. You don't have to trash cards from your hand, you trash a card from the board. And then you KO up to one of your opponent's characters. Doesn't matter what cost they are either, but that's probably why she's a 9-drop body and a 9k swing, because you're able to KO anything on the board. Doesn't matter what cost they are. So really good removal for black right now. Especially for Cypher Pull, because Cypher Pull kind of didn't have a lot of removal. Right now we only see 4-drop Lucci's for the removal. Nobody runs Kaku anymore. So like really good removal for Cypher Pull, if I do say so myself. So you're probably going to be seeing this in Mono Black Lucci when that card comes out, when set 7 comes out. Maybe we'll see old Lucci come back. Who knows? Who knows? And finally, Vegapunk, the final leader we're getting, right? Surprisingly, he's a 2-life leader. This is the very first leader card that isn't 4 or 5 or 6. This is the very first 2-life leader. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So like, if somebody were running this guy against Yamato, the samurai triggers would already be able to go off. So that's very interesting. But since it is mono yellow, right, it's probably going to have a lot of life gain, a lot of life manipulation. But it's a leader that can attack. Obviously, it's Vegapunk, so you're probably going to be using the satellites to attack with him. Activate main once per turn, you pay 1. You may rest a specified number of Dawn. Place up to 1 cost 5 or less character with Egghead type from your hand, face up on top of your life or into play. Wait, what? Place up to 1 cost 5 or less card with Egghead type from your hand, face up on top of your life or into play. Okay, so he pretty much just gets to, for 1 Dawn, you just get to play a 5-drop or less for free, or for very cheap. Or you get to put him on top of your life. So this actually can work. This leader can work with the 5-drop Luffy because he counts as Egghead. And it's a 5-drop. So like if you really want to get rid of a 4-drop on the opponent's board, you could put this Luffy into your life with the Vegapunk leader ability, and then just trigger the leader, the card ability, which is KO 4 or less. But if you want to put him in play instead for the activate main ability, you can with Vegapunk. So you just play 1, play this Luffy, and since your life is already at 2 or less, because Vegapunk is the very first 2-life leader, you just KO up to one of your opponent's 4 or less characters. And then you draw a card. So this Luffy can work in the Vegapunk deck as well, not just his deck that he's getting in the 3 Brothers decks, starter deck. So interesting. I did not expect Vegapunk to just be a 2-life leader. So who knows? Very, very risky though to have 2 life only at the start, and he can't attack either. So interesting. Hopefully the other satellites they release will be really good to where they make this guy somewhat viable. But yeah, since it's not life locked for this leader ability, you could just keep doing this every turn to put a card back in your life. So like, yeah, but since the card has to be Egghead, you can't run stuff like, like Soul Pocus. Like imagine if it wasn't archetype locked, you could just keep placing Soul Pocuses into your life because it's a 5 or less, and Soul Pocus is that. It's literally 5. It's a 5-drop event card. It's like if this wasn't archetype locked, you could just keep putting those cards, and your opponent would have to choose either I gain a life or they lose a life. So very interesting. Next up is Porch, and this is for the Foxy Pirates, obviously, so we're getting more info on that. On play, Don -1, look up to the top 5 cards of your deck, add a Foxy Pirate, place the remainder on the bottom, then you may play up to 1 4,000 or lower purple character from your hand. Okay, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So she's not only the searcher, but she helps you get more stuff out on the board, so maybe we'll get some more Foxy Pirate stuff that work with this. Or maybe there might be some other purple cards that could work in the Foxy deck in general. Like there could be some, as far as I know, I can't name any purple stuff off the bat that we have right now that could work with this because it's not archetype locked. You just play the 4,000 power card from your hand. It's not archetype locked, but you do have to look for a Foxy type pirate on the search. But the play is free, so maybe this could work with something else we have right now. But of course, with only leaks coming out, we'll probably get more leaks that have more Foxy pirates that work really well with this. So nice. We're getting some stuff for Foxy already. Next up is Sanji, and this is a Sanji with Vinsmoke family in it, so not bad. And it's a Sanji with Germa Kingdom, so this can work. This can actually work in the Reiju deck that we got in set 6 because Reiju is blue-purple, so this works in Reiju. Not to mention it's a Germa Kingdom that's a 2K, so you could run this in Reiju, have another 2K like Sora, so it's another 2K you can search for. Activate main, place this card in your trash, look up to the top 5 cards of your deck, then place them at the top or bottom of your deck in any preferred order. So it's like Blocker Dofi, right? But you'd probably be using it for like the Power Rangers pretty much. You're setting it up in a certain way to get your certain Power Rangers out. So not bad. Next up is Blue Jam, and the final card is Blue Jam. So he is from Goa Kingdom. He's part of the Blue Jam Pirates. I don't really know what episode he's exactly from. It's a 1,000 counter, Dawn ×1 when attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 2,000 power less. So it's basic red stuff, right? Basic red, dealing with attack power. So you'll get a 6k swing. If your opponent has a 2k power on board, then they're dead. Don't really know how this is going to be worked because it's Goa Kingdom and Blue Jam Pirates, so who knows? I'm pretty sure Goa Kingdom is the stuff from Sabo, so but I don't really know. But so yeah, again, I don't really know what this could work with because the archetypes don't really go well with other things. I think this is the pirate that attacked when the brothers were still very little, and I think this is the guy that fought Dadan. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for this set. Really excited for Vegapunk, I'll be honest. Very interesting for a 2-life leader, very first one. Stussy, really great removal, especially for Cypher Pull. Dragon got his own card, which is really good. And then we have Basil Hawkins, which just really helps with setup. The setup will pretty much be unstoppable now. Well, not unstoppable, but just being able to protect your cards, protect this card in any way for one time per turn is actually really good. Even though it's only once per turn, it's still really good for green because green doesn't really have a lot of ways to protect itself, especially against blue removal being super easy, and then black just having a lot of KO abilities. It's just that it's really hard for green to set up, and I can say that because I actually do play stuff with green in it, and it's just really hard to keep my cards out because in order for me to keep my cards out, right, I have to play other cards that protect it, or I just have to play a lot of setup in order to even keep them. So Basil Hawkins, and just having him out on board pretty much certifies you another blocker, or it certifies you another swing, which makes green more aggressive in a certain type of way, but also it makes it more defensive because Basil Hawkins is a blocker. So this will probably be ran in Jewelry Bonnie. This will probably be ran in Eustace Captain Kidd. This will probably be ran in some other thing I probably don't know about. You can run this in the Red Green Luffy, right? But you won't be able to restand it. But because you're able to keep this out on the board from one effect is actually really good. It just really, again, really helps green like certify cards on the board. It really helps green in a way of aggression and defense, and it just works really well with one of the archetypes, which again is Supernova, so not bad. But having leaks like this show off cards that really help the game in certain types of ways is actually really good, because not only do we get cards that help us in our certain colors, we also get cards that help us in certain decks that we like to play. But yeah, enough rambling on. That was it for this leak. As always, just like the other stuff, I will be covering this as much as I can and voicing my opinions on cards we'll be getting. So that'll be pretty much it.